That'll teach you to mess with my root vegetables. I deserve to pet the puppy. What a good puppy! What a great puppy! What a good puppy! What a great puppy! Hi everyone, Anthony Fantano here. Internet's squeakiest chair busiest music nerd. And it's time for a review. Zammuto. Self-titled, the Zammuto. Zammuto is a new band fronted by singer-songwriter and musical experimentalist Nick Zammuto, formerly of The Books. Unfortunately, The Books broke up pretty recently, and it wasn't too long ago that they dropped one of my favorite albums in their discography, The Way Out. Hold on a second. There it is. That was my second favorite LP of 2010. Yeah! And this is really Nick's first shot at putting out some official solo material ever since The Book started officially releasing material. Now before this LP came, there was an EP that got released, and though I did like it, I gave it a positive review. I felt like after the review still I was left with some questions. What is this project really? Is it all that different from The Books stylistically? And now that I have this full-length LP in my lap, I feel like I have those questions answered. Very, very answered. Basically on this LP, Nick Zammuto has taken his experimental nature, just futzing with lyrics, with song structures, with sounds, and he's now applying it to a full band context, style, setup. The focus has shifted away from looped and diddled rhythms and samples and found sounds. So even though Nick is not really shooting for a sound collage type of thing that Books fans may be used to, he still searches for avenues to do something interesting, creating sounds that you're not likely to hear on other albums. And he does it with familiar instrumentation too, just guitar, bass, synthesizers, drums, vocals, and some of this LP hits me with a really interesting sound right from the start on the opening track, where the song opens up with this really nice hi-hat rhythm. It's an interesting groove, but then these vocals start singing out, calling out very brightly over that rhythm, and they're edited. They're edited heavily to have this kind of skippy, skittery effect. I love the melody they're singing. It's really bright, it's really playful, but man, the editing on these vocals is what brings it to a whole nother level and makes it feel so different and just so new. It does a great job of setting the mood for this LP, and the next track, Grown Man Don't Cry, keeps spirits high as well. This track is proof, this whole album in fact, that experimental music does not need to be this serious, boring thing. It can be fun, it can be exciting. The sharp, angular guitar leads on this next track kind of reminds me of something I would hear on like a Dirty Projectors album, but much more bouncy. There's a little bit of drumming thrown in throughout the track, and as the song continues, these synth arpeggios start growing and getting louder and brighter, and they eventually kind of fall into the mix, just into place like Tetris blocks. I feel like I could really express myself in regards to this song visually. I kind of felt limited when it came to words, so I just drew a quick picture, and this is the picture. Red-headed boy, some freckles, and he's really excited to open up this book, and when he opens it, there's a rainbow just flying out of it, crashing into his face, and then it says, "Science rules." This LP is definitely something that took some studying and some focus and some foresight to create, and exploring as well, but it's still just about as fun as opening up a book and having a rainbow crash into your face for reasons that completely defy all logic. Or if you want a musical comparison, maybe you could say it feels like Big Science era Laurie Anderson writing pop and rock tunes. So the next few tracks on this thing are actually from the EP that I reviewed earlier this year. Not going to go too deep into them because I've already discussed them. The track Too Late to Apologize actually drops a little bit of auto-tune in the mix, which isn't that far-fetched considering how much vocoder is on this LP at some points. And, you know, even though there is this stigma kind of surrounding the tool, call it that, the tool of auto-tune, Nick uses it in a way that is a lot like the way that he uses vocoder, so it's just as entertaining. The next track on here hits me with something even stranger though. It puts a really great groove out there with this bass line that sounds like it was sequenced on this 80s bass sequencer. Some really tight drumming on this track and some guitar playing. And there are vocals over this track, and I don't even know if I would call them rapping, but they're kind of rapping. They're the vocals of a woman that sound like they're coming from a text-to-speech generator. Nick Zammuto had typed in these lyrics, and then this robot woman voice is reading these lyrics out. But then her vocals are edited so that they are rhythmically in sync with the music, so they kind of sound like they're rapping. It really kind of caught my ear, and in a good way. Now, the end of this album, in usual album fashion, kind of mellows out a bit. It starts throwing some gentler, quieter songs out there, which to me at their core are not all that different from the quieter, more guitar-led and songwriting-led songs that you would hear on a Books album. The track Harlequin has some really awesome tremolo effects on the vocals that make it kind of disorienting in this really kind of sad, sorry, descending guitar chord progression that's kind of depressing. And the final song on here is a little anticlimactic, but still very pretty. The songs are great, the sounds are really creative, interesting, and you know, what I love the most about this album is just the production, the recording. Though I was kind of on the fence with that on the EP, I feel like I've come all the way around, and I am loving the sound of these songs. They just are not mired in effects like reverb or distortion or anything like that. This album feels so raw, it feels so crisp, it feels so clean, it feels so crunchy. It has a bit of a DIY kind of quality to the recording, but it comes through so clear. This album has nothing to hide, nothing to mask, nothing to enhance. It's just pure, unadulterated, loving, gentle, good-natured, lighthearted weirdness. I'm loving the sound of Zammuto in front of a full band, and that's pretty much it. Feeling a light to decent 8 on this album. What do you guys think of this thing? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Why? And what should I review next? Anthony Fantano, Zammuto, Forever.